And the magic machine tells me that I'm live. And we say hello to Golden Coin 100 first in the live chat. Golden Coin 100, thank you for your support of Golden Coin, a metaphorical, metaphysical coin, onto the for your live chat participation. Um, so taking a little bit of a turn. This morning, I had every intention of thinking that this was going to be kind of um, that we might start talking about. I knew that this day was going to come. Basically, what has happened is that um, I'm gonna have to. I knew that that hmm. Well, the title of this video says it all. We say hello to Jed Petty. We say hello to Lisa Kane. Silver medal on to Jed Petty for live chat participation. Bronze on to Lisa Kane. Okay. So the title of the video says it all. Coming to terms with my unhealthy relationship to RPG book collecting. Okay. So um yeah, I mean, I have an unhealthy relationship. I had assessed. Now let me be completely honest here, because when we make these sort of videos, when we talk this sort of way, um, I want to communicate, and I want to achieve a goal. I want to have a level of transparency so that we so that number one, we can understand each other. And the purpose of this video is so that I can achieve some sort of catharsis. I have discussed making videos like this where I talk about personal stuff does have a cathartic effect. It has the effect of working stuff out. We say hello to Malta 2000 XXL. XXL may have split into a vain attempt to get down to XL to accommodate my slimmer frame. Um, Look, as I heal things in certain areas of my life, maybe other areas, my issues may move to other. So we wanna have a thing of transparency. If I'm talking about issues with, spending or stuff like this, I'm not here to open up my bank account and to tell you what's, the inner workings of my ledger. So, if I'm not gonna be completely transparent, the fear is that I am going to be obtuse enough to maintain my privacy, but in doing so, may create a false, impression that things are more dire or more problematic than they are, okay? Um, for people who know me and know my story, they know my story includes, addiction and alcoholism. This is not a video talking about my relationship to, um, RPG book collecting, in I'm going to be using addiction terminology because this I have I feel as though my relationship to book collecting and my consumer habits as expressed in RPG collecting as of late is unhealthy. And I had made a personal, basically a personal kind of vow and assessment and, you know, proclamation and statement about, what I was gonna do moving forward as of, to not buy more RPG books, having assessed that, my dude, right? If we think about normatively the amount of time you realistically have to read, the rate speed at which you seem to read at this, as a 47-year-old guy, as an avid reader, kudos onto you, I read. Um, Even taking into fact the fact that you're an avid reader, you know, as of now, this being a week and a half ago, a week ago, whatever, I made this statement about saying that I'm not gonna buy any more RPG books. I had made a self-assessment of like, "Yo, basically, leaving aside all the other stuff like, comics and, the novel and science fiction, like, leaving everything else aside, video games, all the other shit that every time. If we just take the RPG books, right? I have enough RPG content in this probably this office itself to say, right, we don't need to purchase any more RPG books this year, right? At least, right? I had made that personal assessment. I had said, dude, you know, you know, um, on and on Black Friday with like that day after, Thanksgiving or whatever, they were selling, the 5th edition, Dungeons and Dragons books. This is before we did the 20th, the 20-year nostalgia loop, back to 2003, thing. This is like, back, in 2020 back in 2022. Well, it's like 3 months ago. It's like a quarter of a year, FYI, time spent, right? They had basically put the entire, like, 5th edition, catalog, their entire, like, catalog on sale, like, more than half off. So I bought, like, no doubt, like, almost, like, probably I c not the entire, like, 5th edition library, but I mean, even that, like, this is, like guys, like, gas, let me tell you something. So, like I said about assessments, here's the thing, I'm a practicing attorney, I still have cases, I still work. My dad passed away, a few years ago. My dad was a very wealthy, 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 wealthy man. Just the way it is. I'm not saying that to be a flex. I'm not doing whatever. It's because I know people care about me and I know people are personally invested in me. And I don't want to make a video that makes people think that, I'm going to, hurt myself or things are a dangerous situation or I'm bankrupt or things are going crazy. And, it's not that I have no credit card debt. Your boy has no credit card debt. I have personally no student loan debt. I have no debt. I don't. You know what I mean? I am doing financially, I am doing fan fucking tastic for a man in America. I have no fucking complaints. That's why I said a while ago, if you support me on Patreon, support me on Patreon because you are supporting me on Patreon. I stopped long before certain other people were kept on going with false claims of if you're supporting me, you're, supporting this legal case, you're supporting, keeping UFOs clean. I was completely honest. I said, when I said, I had legal fees, I said, here are my legal fees, they're this, blah, blah, blah. And then when I got to the point where I said, yo, honestly, like, because I knew when people are working for or whatever, when I got to the point where I said, this is like ridiculous. I'm not going to tell people that they should be giving me money under, like, false pretenses, acting like I got me. So I said that's why I said, I stopped saying that. I said, "Yo, don't give to me because of this. Don't give to me because I got sued. Give to me because you support what I do or you support my content." And I still say that. Yo, look, at the end of the day, when any, eh, you know, comedian, actor, actress, musician, whatever, anyone who's got X amount of dollars, whatever, when they go out and do what they do for a living, they still expect to get paid for that current performance. Like, at the end of the day, like, I'm still gonna come here and be like, "Yo, I'm still trying to make money," because not like I'm trying to turn into an e-bagging thing, but, like, I'm still gonna be like, "Yo, hey, I do have a Patreon," and, like, because just don't think like, "Oh, yo, like, fuck this guy," because I'm still looking at, like, I'm not trying to I'm not trying to make people think anything. I don't want people to worry. And I don't want, a false impression, but I'm also not trying to be here on, like, a flex. I'm like, I don't come out here and be like, "Yo, I got all this," or whatever, because I'm not trying to be, like, on a flex. And it's not because I don't wanna, like, whatever. This is it's like a gross it's like it's not cool to talk about it, like, I'm not with that, and that's the other thing. All this stuff, the collecting books, the collecting the toys before that, the action figures before that, the talking about my dad passing away and all inherited money, feeling weird about talking about money. wanna come out, they get paid, they get money, and all they wanna do is talk about having money. Whenever anything comes up with me and money, I'm like, "I don't wanna talk about money, I don't want anything makes me we say hello to Bobby Hale. Thank you, Bobby Hale, for joining in. Do you need RPG books to play Meta RPG?" No, you don't, especially nowadays because the amount of RPG materials that are available for free online is astronomical. And as we go forward on my channel, we'll be able to talk about that, and I'll be able to cover you. I will be Bobby Hale to the degree that RPG books or RPG materials aid in the meta RPG process. I will be able to guide you to the resources that will fix you up and hook you up, which points out just how also kind of crazy this whole thing that I've gotten myself into is, which is this: having self-assessed that there was too much written material in my possession for this one individual to possibly consume in 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. I self-assessed that, "Hey, buddy, if you've got more material in your house than you in your possession than you could consume in the next 3 years, by definition, the spending of more resources on more written material of this nature is worthless. It's a worthless endeavor. It's pointless, right? And, it would be it'd be one thing if we could make some sort of argument that there was, like, that anything that I was doing was related to some sort of, holy grail or something that I had to get. But anything that I, quote, unquote, "had to get" would have been by definition something that was, a possession of mine, something that I had. I was very good about maintaining my RPG collection from my youth. What I had from my youth with I went over everything from my youth and my memories. The only thing that I realistically think that I'm missing is that there was one, book called I think it was called, like, Teenagers from Outer Space. It was, like, basically, like, wacky, like, kind of like a 1950s, 1960s, like Archie comics, like, meets, like, Futurama, kind of like a High School Confidential, but, like, with aliens, kids. It was kinda like before, like, ahead of its time, really. It was kinda cool. And I like, the big box of RPG materials that I got out of my bedroom from when I was a kid, I have basically gone through it and can remember everything being, basically intact except that one book that I can't seem to locate. So, basically, it's not like there's anything that, I need, especially at this point that I've been, collecting RPG, you know, back into. So, bottom line was is that I had made an assessment that it had been going on for a long time, that even though it wasn't an issue about I wasn't worried about, going homeless, it wasn't that I, spent too much, that I was missing car payments or house payments or mortgage payments. It wasn't any of those issues. It was that I had self-assessed that I was aware of the fact that, "Hey, you are, buying these books at a rate that far exceeds your ability to read them. There's something else going." And then I was also able to assess this. You know, I stopped going to so-called talking cure, mental health professionals, like, talking therapists, because, yeah, after a while, after so many years of doing it, you basically learn, what the heck is going on. It's like, asking them answer questions and you're just, going one level deeper. You know, I've touched upon this, my family history is very complex and it's dark. And, I had a video recently, I sent to private where, you know, I opened the door to that. And I opened the door to this issue about, this awareness or this gnosis that I had that I was able to acquire, and I was okay with the fact that I acquired it after spending X amount of money, and I don't feel like any of the money that I've spent on any of these, books or any of these action figures is a waste. I don't plan on, selling anything immediately or liquidating anything, nothing like that. I don't have any sort of real, buyer's remorse about any of these things. These were all things that I wanted. It's just a question of whether these were things that I needed, and it's really about the interaction between me and this decision that I made to buy new stuff and how I kinda quote unquote "relapsed." I broke that promise to myself and how I responded to that in a kind of very, addict way. So even though I don't have a problem in the sense that, how, spending, adversely affected it has, the fact of the matter is that I can't go to an addiction specialist and say, fill out a form and say, my overspending has adversely affected my life in the following ways because I have not suffered any adverse effects. The only adverse effect I have suffered is an adverse effect to my self-esteem. That is an adverse effect. That's a real adverse effect. We say hello to Jay Roach too. Hey Joe, how you doing, baby? I mean that's what we do. Just do this. Mm, okay. It's there. Okay. It the effect on your on one's self-esteem is enough, and I'm not in a position where I wanna wait for this stuff to for it to you don't wait for things to get bad, and I it's not about things, like, getting bad. The problem is this, is that, there are guys that I know that are, like, at the cars, they got a Mustang, they got these, crazy motorcycles, or they got, like, a boat or something crazy shit. I'm not into any of that stuff. And I even stopped, I stopped, I was into, like, musical equipment, those, like, effects pedals and stuff. Those effects pedals, like, $100, hundreds of bucks, some of those, like, if you get to the fancy boutique ones, so I used to spend, a fair bit of money on things, so now when I get to things and I'm looking at books that are like, $20, I'm I'm not assessing these things as big, as big ticket items, but they take up space, and it's just like it's getting ridiculous. Um, there's not a loss of ability to walk around, but if I don't stop what I'm doing, we're we're into February of 2023. If we don't stop, I mean, we're getting to the point, it's also this, like, it's not it's not doing whatever it's supposed to be doing. It's obvious to me that purchasing of these action figures, and then I went and I was buying these action figures, and then then kind of weirdly, there was this switch over, and then all of a sudden I was doing these RPGs. And, like I said about not talking to the talking therapist after a while, spend years and years talking to therapists, you don't need a therapist to say, "Oh, gee, you're feeling tired. You inherited this money after, a period of financial stress because I got, before my father died, you um, I was going through this divorce. I was living with this living girlfriend, and, living, nightmare because, everything that was going on with the divorce. So my father died, then, and the relationship with my mother, and it was just nuts. And so, it's obvious I'm going through some sort of recapitulation of my youth because and you have to understand that, like, you know, my relationship with these items like toys and RPG books is so complicated because of my youth and because of my relationship to these things in my youth. Because I said in that video where I opened the door to these issues and I break down, wanna be very careful because I don't want this video I want the truth in this video, I don't necessarily want this video to become overly uncomfortable or necessarily turn into an emotional outpouring. I mean, if whatever happens, happens, but I don't necessarily, get headed there. We say, "Look, Pride Magic, what's going on, baby?" Um, it's no surprise to me that after the passing of my father, there was this acquisition of these, the reacquisition of the or the spending the that I all of a sudden had this money, and this money was then recreationally spent on the exact same things that I spent my money on to quote unquote "make me happy" or was supposed to make me happy in relationship to whatever was going on with me and my father when I was a kid, but my father was a fucking terrorist. It was absolutely, it did not end until he did. It was horrendous, you know what I mean? Um, it's just, it was what it was. The only thing like I said, the only thing that we had in our family was, you know what I mean, like, external funny man laughter, comedy show, da 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 da, and then, on the inside it was, money and pain, the toys and the RPGs, first the toys when you're little, and then, as you go older, RPGs and, heavy metal tapes, whatever, and it's the purchasing of the item is going to it's part of the first addictions, like, I became an alcoholic and an addict, but, the I wasn't I didn't become an alcoholic and an addict, I guess, like I say, the behaviors that I did in relationship to, alcohol and, some various substances were the exact same relationships that I did in relationship to television, right, as a kid, just stay focused on that, on that imaginary world, go there, you know what I mean? Because there is not here, right? There is better than this place. Get to, by any means necessary, right? So, and, you go to, Toys R Us or KB and, you go and the toy is going to or you have the, the catalog in Christmas and the toys are supposedly going to make up for these other, traumas and hurts that are occurring, and they don't, but it's just like the addict, chasing after that fix, the child will keep on the next toy is gonna do it, the next, rescue route robot ranger, the next version of the fancy, cowboy hero action figure robot man cave guy is going to be the one that just, really, kills it, and the problem is that you get that toy and it's awesome to the register and stuff, but, then you get in the car and the car brings you to home, you know what I mean? It brings you to, oftentimes the source of whatever the fuck's going on. So when I assess that, I keep on buying these action figures, it's like I'm recapitulating my youth and I'm buying all these RPG books. I'm recapitulating this activity from my youth. But, this revelation, it's okay if it came at, a certain economic, price. It's okay. Because believe you me, the economic price compared to the economic price I paid over a lot of other revelations is de minimis. We also say hello to Sam. We say hello to Sammy. What's going on, baby? No, absolutely, absolutely. No, and like I said, it's like, look, I mean, like, and, you know, believe you me, part of, this working out of this is like you assess this now. And you assess it this way, and I think about it this way because, look, this is kind of like the language that I've kind of been taught how to deal with things like this. Do you know what I mean? Even it might be overreactionary. But, here's what happened. So if we cut down to the chase, Shazza, even if you don't buy any more RPG books, just read and use the ones you already own, have fun with them, start a Discord server with DiceBot and go ham. No, absolutely. No, but, Sam, but here's Sammy baby, but here's the thing, you see, here's the thing, if I've developed an unhealthy relationship with the RPG books, this is like, I love you, right? But you gotta think about it this way. If we're dealing with an unhealthy relationship, if we're dealing with a maladaptive relationship between me and the RPG books, your excellent practical rational advice to me about just not buying more RPG books and doing this solution is just as rational, pragmatic, practical as me saying to you, Sammy, why are you getting all freaked out and worked out about this? We're just gonna bump a couple of lines. You're not going back. What the fuck is no? It's not a real. It's New Year's, bitch. Fuck you. We're doing this shit right now. Right here, right now. Tranny bitch and crazy Jew. Right here, right now. Baby. Smack it! Do it! Get mine! Right now! Right? It's with New Year's. What, you can't do that, right? If there's something maladaptive going on, there's something maladaptive going on. Just going, you know what I mean? So let me tell you the story, baby. Let me tell you the story, honey. Let me tell you. Let me lay down all y'all. Let's go. Let me let you go. And it's okay. Like I said, I have no credit card debt. I have no credit card debt. I got no debt. I got no student loan debt. I am okay, but I want to keep it that way. I don't know if I can go homeless buying RPG books. I don't want to find out. I'm not there. I'm not getting there. That's me making a joke. But here's what happened. It was Valentine's Day. It was like before Valentine's Day, like a day or two before, whatever. Like I had made the kind of proclamation. Is it right here? Right now? I don't think it's NXS. I think it's right here, right now. It's Jesus Jones. That's what I'm thinking. Waking up from history, and he's watching. He's got his like little hat on. He's watching the freaking Berlin Wall. It's the time loops, man. Listen, so check this out. So here, so we're having fun. Let me tell you what happened. So here we go. It's a couple of days before. I mean, I don't know when it was. Whenever it was, I had made a pronouncement, and I had said, I have enough RPG books. We say hello to Rugged Source. I have enough RPG books for the various reasons that I've laid out. There's enough RPG materials in this house, in my apartment. There's enough. This has gone, cuckoo. We're already in February of 2000, and the whole thing was also with the whole, you know, um, 20-year nostalgia loop, that there's only X amount of material I'm gonna be considering relevant for me to be reading in a given year anyway. It was just getting so nuts. I was like, this is just gotten crazy. Because remember, I had said I was like, I was only supposed to be buying materials from 2003 and 2013 and whatever. And I was like I said, it got to the point where it looks like I've already purchased everything that's available from like 1993, 2003, 2013. I said because I started getting, I was showing you this stuff. It was these books. It was these one, two, three. It was these. It was really kind of these. Let's start with this. I had already had in the house, and already had in basically. I'd gotten four these four books by Exalted. This one hadn't come in yet. This is another book by Exalted for Exalted. And I'd gotten the main rule book too. Yeah, another main rule book too. And I said, "Oh, these books are not even from 2003." these books are from 2001, 2002, so I'm not even supposed to be looking at them for the RPG, a 20-year nostalgia loop. So I said, "This is get that's how crazy this is getting." And I said, "Some of these, it's like I'm buying for 2004's nostalgia loop, next year's nostalgia loop now." I said, "But this is ridiculous." I said, "This whole thing," I said, "This whole thing's getting crazy again." And I said, "I've got too many materials anyway." I said, "This is a problem." And I said, "At that point," I said, "if," I said, "Folks," I said, "I'm making that assessment to you now." And I said, "I'm making to you that assessment to you now." And I said, "Oh," and I already knew that coming into the new year, I knew that there was kind of something wacky going on because coming into the new year, Christmas, I treated everyone in my family great, but I treated myself great too, honey. Woo-wee, right? 5th edition books, 4th edition books. Oh, we see, my problem is this, I'm one of these guys. So I see a book and I'm like, "The book is 12.95." 12.95? 12.95 is not a lot of money. 12.95 is less than 20 bucks. 12.95 is not only is 12.95 less than 20 bucks, 12.95 is less than $15. Yeah, asshole. And if you put like, or I see like a book, I'll get like there'll be like a book like this. It'll be like this book, but it'll be like, like 12.95. So I'm like, "Oh, god damn. Oh, yeah, 12.95." And then I get it and I'm like, "I don't give a what the fuck is this shit? I don't know what the fuck is this?" I guess. Why'd I buy it? It's 12.95. But then what ends up happening is if you put here's the thing about math. If you put like 5 things that cost like 20 bucks into a cart, but I'm an idiot, so you think like, "Hey, genius." You get and you look at that cart and you say, "Ooh, ooh, that cart is like larger than I anticipated, than I wanted to spend this evening." Um, well, hey, that's great because you can do a mature thing like save things for later or take things out of your cart. Oh, 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 well, but yeah, but it's used. So, a used book is a finite resource that's just not necessarily you think that they're going to run out of used copies of 3.5 players handbooks, Honey Bunch. Yeah, but at that price, 45.95. Well, I mean, it gets ridiculous. Say hello to Jason Albert. You know what I mean? So you end up buying like all these books, and then you just end up. So I got to the point where I was saying, I came to you guys. I said, look, I said I've got one, two, and I counted them up. I said I got 22 books, variety of different things, hardcover RPG core rule books to 1983 Choose Your Own Adventure, Endless Quest, Dungeons and Dragons TSR books. Like the game, but I said I got 22 books that are in, shipped on their way to me from Amazon. I said, once those books are here in my possession, I'm deleting the app from my phone. I said, I'm gonna keep my account. I said, whatever I'll do on the computer. I said, but I'm gonna delete my app off the phone, like I deleted the Twitter app off my phone when the social media thing was driving me bonkers. I said, I'm just gonna delete it off my phone, so it'll reduce the temptation to just sit there and just buy things on impulse or whatever. And then I also said, I'm just gonna make this pronouncement to not do this whatever. And so so I did that. So I made that pronouncement. So it was the night, I think it was the night before, and I guess I was doing okay. Well, I was doing okay because I didn't purchase it. It was oh, no, it was like 2 weeks ago because I hadn't purchased anything. Then the Friday, I guess the Friday came and I purchased things from Amazon, but they weren't books. I purchased like $100 worth of things, but they weren't books. It was I completed the build a figure for Rintrah for the Doctor Strange Marvel um Legends guys. Don't worry about it. Anyway, but so whatever. So basically some time had gone by where I basically kept to this pronouncement to not we say hello to mutate. Hey, it is what it is, baby. Um and we I guess I had been good. So I think it was the day before Valentine's Day. And what had happened was I had ordered a another copy of the player's handbook, a 3.5 of the player's handbook, because I had seen a used copy that was for sale on Amazon for like 16.95. It was like some ridiculous price. I think there might have been like I think sometimes there's these like scam sailors that go on Amazon where they'll like list things for like ridiculous prices. They just like take a chance on people like buying things and like not doing returns or doing things. There you go. Um, so what ended up, happening was it was the night before Valentine's Day. And some of these books that I had ordered what will end up happening is that they'll get lost in the mail. Something will happen is they'll end up getting processed or getting returned. And normally they'll get returned, back onto, my the card or whatever. But for whatever reason, this time it processed it and it returned it like onto my Amazon account as a credit. And I did something foolish. And I the whole point of this story is I acted absolutely like an addict throughout the next part of the whole process, which indicates that I was correct in kind of knowing how I was, interacting with the RPG book, purchasing, that it was like that it was had mutated into something else, that it wasn't just I wasn't just, buying these books like I had been buying, to any degree that any of my relationships to things like CDs or anything had been, 100% pure. This had developed into a kind of addictive behavior that I was, constantly, making these consumer hits because there was obviously some sort of dopamine hit that was happening. And I think it was also I identified that with the online purchasing, you almost get this like kind of double hit. And because you see the item that you like, and with the RPG used books and stuff, it's it's the combination of seeing the item that you want, but then also seeing like if you can see it at like being offered at a lower price, and then being able to see if you can get like the best price possible and stuff and all that stuff. So you get like those sort of thrills, going on. So you have that initial thrill, and then there's the wait, and then it comes. So then you get the second hit of it coming. But then, like any addict, you open it up, you look at it, and you get that initial thrill, but then the thrill is gone very quickly. And what you're left with is, where am I going to put this book? And if you're like me, you're naturally then go into anxiety mode. There's all these books around. Someone's going to break in. Now, oh my God, if I talk about this on my channel, people are going to know there are all these old RPG books, and they're going to want to break into my place and steal all these RPG. or the place is going to burn down. There's too many books here. Now it's like a fire hazard because there's all these books. It's just, I mean, I just get crazy. I mean, it's just not. Oh my God, we have to recount all the books. We have to get more. We have to get more renters insurance. There's too many books now. Oh my God. When was the last time I checked the value of the Unearthed Arcana? That we need to update something. I need to a spreadsheet. I need to hire a girl to come in here, and but like, the place is too dirty. I have to clean up the place to get someone in here to catalog the books. And before I could get, but I'll have a heart attack first. If they come in here, they'll see all the books, and I no. No, I have to write down what books are valuable, Max. So if I won't know what's good and what's bad, she'll send the goodwill. She won't save the good ones for the kids. They don't want to pay them anyway. I'm not giving some heart attack. It gets crazy. I get myself crazy. So it was the day before Valentine's Day, and this fucking bullshit I almost said something racist about. I swear to God, I get so crazy. I almost said something racist about Koreans. I have no idea. I have no idea how that even got like into my headspace. Because I'll tell you why. Because the sellers were, and they returned the money. I don't know where I'm going. But anyway, it's the notion of a 1695 book they already have, and meanwhile I've got. Anyway, this is ridiculous. Anyhow, why would I go there with that? Anyhow. I didn't go there. I'm just self-assessing. Anyhow, so it's the day before Valentine's Day. And I think I want to talk about that too, because I think that may have something to do with it. And this credit gets returned onto my account for like $16.95. And I say to myself, well, you know, that was going to be an RPG book anyway. Right? That 1695 was going to be an RPG book anyway. So even though you said you weren't going to buy any more RPG books until those 22 books came, that was one of the 22 books. So if you took that money and spent it on an RPG book, you're not really, it's totally cool. So I ended up buying for like really cheap a used copy of like Ninjas and Super Spies, which is an old book by Palladium. And I got something else too. Like, and that was that. But then it turned out that I had like screwed up we all say hello to Robert Redman. And I had screwed up the order or the purchase, and I didn't apply the credit. So the $16.95 that was on the account, I didn't apply it to this purchase. So I ended up just spending another $16.95 or like whatever it was, 18 with tax, whatever, and buying these new RPG books or whatever. So I was like, oh, you broke the deal. And I was like, hey, I see your rugged source. I appreciate you commiserate. I buy 5 used books a week on eBay. As long as they're used, it's okay. You just need space to put the books, which becomes a problem. I hear you. I hear you. That's enough of a problem, though, right? So anyway, so I go and I've done this. I've made this purchase, and I say to myself, I said, dude, I said, this is ridiculous. I said, it doesn't matter that you were going to apply the credit and the credit didn't apply. Just you'll apply that credit to something else. Just whatever. But I'm like, no, I'm still owed that credit for RPG books. So I go back to Amazon to go buy another RPG book with the $16.95 credit. And I'm saying to myself in my head, I'm like, wait, asshole, you just spent $16.95. You just spent like the money that would have been that credit. I said, it's not a crime now because the money that you would have spent is still on the credit. You could just use for something else as long as you don't use it for RPG books. You know what I mean? Frick covers frack by the domation of the salamander by the cuckoo. You know, you're fine. It's only if You do what you're about to do, that you're going to put yourself in this position of feeling conflicted by doing this. But you see what happens? I felt like I was initially in conflict. Then I realized, oh, no, I'm actually not in conflict. But then all of a sudden I created the conflict. And you know why? All of a sudden I realized I wanted to be in conflict. Why did I want to be in conflict? Because if I was in conflict, then that I already fucked up. If I'd already fucked up, here's what happens next. Any addict or alcoholic or overspender or overeater knows exactly where I'm going with this. Once you fuck up, the problem is you fucked up, you feel guilty, you feel horrible, you feel horrendous, right? But you're off to the races. You already fucked up. I already broke my line in the sand. I wasn't going to buy any more RPG books. And then I was like, okay, well, I'll just do this. I'll just cover the spread with the credit. Oh, I accidentally didn't cover the spread of the credit. Well, it's not a big deal because you kind of did anyway. It's just, it's like a metaphor that you accidentally put it on your card instead of just using the credit. It's like no big deal. Oh no, it's a big deal. Now I'm fucked. So what did I end up doing? That night I ended up buying like something else or whatever. I don't even know what I did. But then Valentine's Day comes. And I come into this office, and if I'm lying, I'm dying. It's like I had made the plan in my head. I had already kind of worked up myself and worked up this energy about, oh, I fucked up. I screwed it up. And what did I screw up? I had basically said to you guys, guys, this is it. I've got 22 books. Come in. Once the 22 books come, that's it. I'm deleting this thing off my app. I wasn't in a program. I wasn't counting days. I'm not in Overspenders Anonymous. I'm not, you know what I mean? Like I'm not in a rehab program. I don't have credit card debt. It was just, it was all just how I feel about and identifying pure addict behavior. Just acting like a pure addict. So what did the pure addict do the next day? Like basically like on an agenda. Came into the office. So like this is like thoughts, you know what I mean? Like, so many opportunities to like stop myself, like to say like this. And what the thought process basically was, we went like this. Okay, we've already fucked up and crossed our line in the sand. We've already fucked up and crossed our line in the sand. So, well, as long as we're here, we know. And the cover story was, there were two things that there were three things that I just needed. It was the first Earth Dawn from 1993, which is it's Shadowrun's world in ancient history. And then I needed a hard copy would say, "Little Synthetic Rebellion, baby, what's going on?" I needed a hard copy version, print on demand version of the Rules Cyclopedia from Drive Through RPG. Bearing in mind that I already have a hardcover version, but I don't like the hardcover version I have is an original one, and it's it's in rough shape, and I wanted a hardcover one that I could handle. Bearing in mind that I basically have a complete retro clone version of it a version of it called Dark Dungeons that I have, but it's from 2010, so it's not the right year. It's ridiculousness. And then I wanted Advanced Fighting Fantasy from 2011, which bearing in mind that according to my insane Mayan calendar, moving at the rate of the tortoise, with the aperture of like 1 year, 365 days, 20 years ago today, I have to wait till 2031 until granted, it's, you know what I mean? Something's got to give. But And so I, on Valentine's Day, and I think part of it also was this, is that, I'm not going to go too much into it, but, look, to say, look, but I have a very beautiful relationship with my ex-wife. I call her my ex-wife for a reason. Okay. The ex modifies wife, the wife at the tail end modifies ex-wife. But you know what I mean? You know, I did cheat on this lady. You know what I mean? The relationship is very, very complicated. And things like Valentine's Day, it can be terse, it can be tense, it can be, look, it's things are a work in progress. So it was a very lovely day, and we had a very lovely day with the kids, and everything's fantastic. There was no problem there, but I may have been acting out in regards to some anxiety or something, because for whatever reason, when I came in that day, what was supposed to be, I'm just going to go to this website, I'm going to confirm that they got this and this, I'm going to see if they got the best price on this website, I'm going to see if the best price is on this website, and I'm going to buy this, or I'm going to buy this. Hey, Jonas, what's going on, baby? No worries, I'm being late. It's quite all right. Turned into, no lie, I probably dropped, no doubt, no doubt. Now, bear in mind, like, I'm not trying to roll whatever. Like, I dropped on one website one amount, on another website another amount. And bearing in mind, I already got a ridiculous amount of RPG shit in this thing. The stuff I got from Noble Knights came today. And when the shit came from Noble Knights today, I realized that we were going to make this video and was going to be part of the comeuppance video. The shit that's coming from print on demand that's getting sent to is gonna go right to the house. So that's gonna be great. I already, like, my ex-wife knows what's up with, and I talked to her about the spending too. I say, what's up? And she knows I don't have a credit card debt. I have nothing. I have no debt. You know what I mean? Like, the money I spend is money I have. This I didn't get from, this is crazy. This I didn't get from, and so there's books that have been coming that I took home. So I got 13th Age from 2013, bearing in mind that I just said, like I said the night before, we're concentrating, we're just doing the 20-year nostalgia loop now. So I said that we're just doing the 20-year nostalgia loop now yesterday, right? No, if I'm lying, I'm dying. Fuck me in the ass if I'm lying, I'm dying. I swear to God, you cannot make this shit up. Here's a rugged source. I don't think the addiction is as bad as you think. You still have value with the books, whereas something like drugs, liquor, just as wasted, has no monetary value, also could become an investment. You think so? It's really how it affects you. It's really how it affects you and your self-esteem. And really what it is that I made a pronouncement to myself. Now, it's not a big deal. You know what I mean? So, but we don't want it to be. What it really is about me having said, I don't want to buy any more RPG books. I don't want to spend my money on this. And it was really it's about self-control. And it's about my reaction to not practicing self-control. So here's what happened. When it was supposed to be, I'm just going to get this and I'm just going to get this, it turned into be not being this. And so it's one of these things. So I said yesterday, we made the video, I was like, we're going to be just doing the 20-year nostalgia loop. So all of a sudden, all that stuff from 2013 that I've been collecting and doing whatever, including all that shit, like a lot of the stuff from 2000, the 22 books and all shit, like a lot of stuff that I already, whatever. So whatever. Yesterday, right after I made that video where I said we're going to the 20-year nostalgia loop, just concentrating on that, so we're not going to be worrying about the 10-year nostalgia loop. What finally comes? The 13th Age, which I've been waiting for a while. For whatever reason, it got screwed up. It was taking a while to get here. It's from 2013. It was basically like the redemption song of this guy, Jonathan Tweet, who basically is like, he was like one of the guys like reputation because he worked on 4E. He worked on the fourth edition of Dungeons and Dragons. So he's one of these people who was like supposed to be like, basically a whole bunch of people that worked on 4E who basically like supposedly they were like worried their careers were ruined because like 4E was such like a plight of damnation. Like this like 13th age was supposed to be them being like, we are fucking, we can do good shit too. And like, so I got it. And then finally came. And after I was like, fuck 2013, whatever, hysterical. Then I watched this movie Grind from 2003 on the 20-year nostalgia loop, right? And it is all about the 10-year nostalgia loop. It is all about 1993. It's ridiculous. And I developed a character for it. We'll have to talk about some other day because we won't get to it now because we're already 55 minutes into this. Here's this. Here's Synthetic Rebellion. I impulse shop first editions of novels I like on eBay, but I usually control myself. Hey, look, I mean, I get it. There's a reason we do this stuff. Do you know what I mean? Here's like Jonas said, I have an addiction to indie wrestling T-shirts. Time to start collecting Playboy or Hooters calendars. Don't get me started. No, believe you me. I mean, like this is like I get it. It was just a question of like when I'm looking around my house and I'm saying to myself, if you are this way at 47 and it's February of 2013, I do basically the rough math magic with my eyes, and I just go, if you were here like 2 years ago, and now you're like this, I do it. Like I remember, like I can remember, I can visualize. I remember my CD collection from 1998. I had a like one of those like sliding, one of those like it was like a condo. I rented a condo, so it was like one of those sliding doors, and it had like I had like four of those, like those 90 CD case, like it like would stack those 90 CDs, like it had like three rows of CDs, and I'd stack like two of them, so it like four of those, and that was the entire CD collection. And then my CD collection, by the time the CDs became irrelevant, by the time the CDs became irrelevant in my life, which was probably calendar year 2000 and God, what, 10? I mean, really, honestly, whatever. Anyway, let's get to the thing at hand. So I'd already had too many things coming. There've already been shit coming since we last spoke. This came Fighting Fantasy. This is from 2007 or 2010, completely off loop for me. This came. It's a game book by a guy called Ashley P. Martin. This is the second one. It's from 2013. I have the first one from 2012. I got a while ago. I never played it, but then the second one's from 2013, so I got it because it's from 2013. Then, of course, I decided that I wasn't going to do stuff from 2013. So there, wonderful, nice. And then I got these two books came in from 1983. Choose Your Own Adventure, because you know what I mean? Because obviously it's crucial to my magical practices, Pragmagic and Bobby Hale. You know that you're dealing with the true scion of the mystic arts here. I truly am the next Aleister Crowley. There was Aleister Crowley, there was L. Ron Hubbard, there was Adidas Samraj, and then there was me. And I am going to bring the kids to the next generation of super hyper cool by bringing them to Dinosaur Island. I shit you not. Folks, believe it or not, I bought Dinosaur Island by Edward Packard. It was an investment. It was not an investment in, the financial returns of TSR or whatever, Choose Your Own Adventure books over time. It was literally, oh, it's from 1983 and it involves dinosaurs, right? They're from a period in time that people like to go back to. And Jurassic Park is a thing. I swear, folks, Pragmagic And and Pragmagic and Bobby Hale. I gotta tell you something, folks, because you guys, exactly what I'm talking. And Sam, you know exactly what I'm talking about too. It's fucking those like brilliant things that like those ideas that we have like in high school, like what I mean. We should videotape ourselves, man, with these conversations we have. These conversations we have, man. We're really fucking solving some problems here, man. We're fucking if we fucking wrote some of this shit down, man. No, I'm serious, man. If we wrote half of this shit down instead of just fucking talking about this shit and then just forgetting about it in the morning, if we wrote this shit down man, bring your fucking video camera next time, man. No, I'm serious, man. We're just gonna fucking do it, man. We're fucking rap it out all night. We're just gonna fucking figure it out. And then you fucking like play back the videotape the next day, and it's like you and your fucking friends getting high, being like, okay, man, like so. It's called The Encounter. And it's like it's all about it's the other person, but it's like yourself. Oh shit! Dinosaur Island by Edward Packard. What the fuck? When a plane crash leaves you stranded on a remote island, you make an amazing discovery. The island is inhabited by dinosaurs. These prehistoric creatures are the result of secret genetic experiments conducted by a mad genius named LeBau. If LeBau learns that you've seen the dinosaurs, your life could be in danger. You may be able to escape from the island on one of LeBau's speedboats, but you're curious about his plan. Should you risk your life or to stay and find out more? Yeah. So we already started the one with the guy hanging out with the insect on the strange alien planet with the time machine. We'll finish that one first. We also got this Endless West one with the Circus of Fear. It's got a girl on a griffin. Yo! And I just voted for the girl on the griffin image on the micro RPG. Pick the next cover. That means nothing. Then we also got these are all TSR's version. These are all from This is all from 1983, except for this one. This one's from I think this one's from 1983 too. Yeah, these are all 1983. This one's actually a Gamma World one, which is cool. It's got a chick. And here's Spell of the Winter Wizard. These are all 1983. But those are all stuff. Oh, also, I made this big pronouncement. Oh, I also need an Oracle card deck from 2003, but I'm not going to get one because I don't need another Oracle card deck. Then I got an Oracle card deck from 2003 by Lucy Cavendish because all my Oracle card decks are from Lucy Cavendish because reasons. But then on to the stuff that came from Noble Knight Games. So they're the used book hose from different area codes. This did not come from Noble Knights, but I did find the 1993 hardcover version of Earth Dawn that I wanted. This is Shadowrun's world, but like in the prehistoric era. So Shadowrun is, if you don't know, it's an RPG universe where it's basically like the modern world, like with cybersecurity and computers and hacking and all that stuff. But then the mystical realms open up, and like orcs and elves and demi-humans and dragons and stuff, like all that, and magic comes through and stuff. So it's basically like halfway between Dungeons and Dragons world and cyberpunk. That's like basically like Shadowrun. And then Earth Dawn is that universe, but before the magic went to sleep and the modern world became, and then the magic came back. This is that world with the magic is. There you go. It happens. Rugged Source. I'll be taking side bets on how many more books CW buys. Take care, Shadow. Take care, Sammy. We love you, baby. So, pragmatic. I think the idea of choosing your own time, tripping with alternative memories that could have been. I think that that's part of what we're doing with this. We're building alternative. We're going back to 2003. We're making another 2003. We're making 2003s that never were. All this talk of 2003 has me writing a lot about how that was the last year I had any sense of normality. Jeez, Louise, well, that would make sense, kind of. That actually would make sense. So this was the one that I was hunting for. Check this out. But then this was typical of me. So before I found that, I had both. So the Valentine's Day, I had both windows open. I had Noble Knights open, their cart open, their website open, and I had Drive Through RPG. This is two websites where you can buy RPG materials. Drive Through RPG is where I would buy new materials that they would print on demand. I would buy stuff there, mainly old Dungeons and Dragons stuff, and they'll print out new versions of it and send them to me. And Noble Knights Game is basically a used book, worldwide used book emporium that specializes in RPG materials. So there, I was there shopping for used materials, and like I said, the agenda was I was supposed to just be there to buy 2 or 3 books and try and find out which of these two websites had the best price on these 2 or 3 books, and that's what I was supposed to do. Well, suffice to say, that didn't happen. I probably spent like $500-600 that day. I'm not gonna lie. So I had put the Earth Dawn Second Edition into the Noble Knights um, cart because I couldn't find the first Earth Dawn at a reasonable price. They had the first Earth Dawn at Noble Knights, but like for a very large amount of money, I didn't want to spend it on. I ended up finding it at Amazon for $30. When I found it at Amazon for $30, did I take the second edition from 2005 that I can't use for another 2 years out of the Noble Knights um, cart? Of course I didn't. No, of course I didn't. So what am I going to do now? I'm going to take this huge box of stuff and I'm just going to show you all the stuff that came from Noble Knights today. So we got the second edition of Earth Dawn. We've got, what is this called? The Patchwork Scroll. So this is for Exalted. 13 new martial arts styles, new creatures and charms. The patchwork says so. Over the years, our Exalted writers have produced more word count than we could use. Rather than throw it all away, however, we collected to put it online. Now the Patchwork Scroll stitches together all of these lost treasures into a crazy quilt of additional game pieces for your Exalted Second Edition series. So this is so Exalted almost is like, the reason that's so crazy to me is that we talked about this thing, like, so there's these different things that happen. We talked about, like, the reason that I got crazy about Earth Dawn, the reason I got crazy about Exalted is that Exalted happens in the White Wolf universe, where White Wolf were the guys that did, Vampire the Masquerade and all the various other iterations of all the different other monsters like Mage and all that stuff. Exalted is like almost like their analog to Earth Dawn. And so almost all these role-playing game companies who had these worlds almost simultaneously or almost at the exact same time always do the exact same things plot-wise and culturally. At the exact same time that Exalted were doing that the Vampire the Masquerade people were doing this shit with Exalted, there was some other company that was like Earth Dawn. They were doing the exact same thing. They were doing like this thing of like having like the going back into the past and like having everything go back into this like ancient world. And the reason I also got excited about Exalted was because of this notion of much like the Vampire Masquerade games, it's like it's much more about uh, getting away from the mechanics of uh, what happens with the rolling of dice or the resolution of mechanics, rules, and tables and graphs and stuff, and much more about just using simple rules to just kind of provide basic guidelines to how chants are influencing people telling stories. I guess is that an easier way to say things. So, what else do we have here? Then we have Riffs Japan. This is from 1995. I think I got it because of the price. It was about Japan. It's Palladium. There's a chick on it, and it was from 1995. I'm being completely honest with you. And I know that I had gotten first edition Riffs. But I had gotten first edition Riffs, but I was thinking that I couldn't use it because it was from 1992 and that we were only going to use stuff. I don't know. I'm getting, we have to relax a whole bunch of stuff. We got another Riff source book. I picked this one up because it was ultra cheap. A Nightmare Villain from Earth's Past. Robot Monstrosities, creating robot characters. So I love Palladium stuff because I grew up like my biggest stuff on role playing games growing up wasn't actually Dungeons and Dragons. I was into Dungeons and Dragons, but my biggest thing was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Robotech. So Palladium was a huge thing for me. It was just that I had gotten out of role playing games by the time they had done their big move on Riffs, which was basically I think like 1989 or whatever. That's like when I kind of got out. The other thing that Palladium did that I got into after the fact was they had this game that was kind of basically like Nightbreed the RPG. But that came out like in 95, 96. And they had to change the name or whatever. I forget what it's called. And but like I said, that came out. Like I didn't get that until I got back into RPGs about a year ago or a year, 2 years ago. The 13th Age Bestiary. This game does look good, but we should stay on 2003 because that's how it'll work. I might open up a store. I don't know. Got more Exalted. This is an early cast book for Exalted. Eclipse. Yeah, some of this stuff I actually end up getting for like less than the cover price. I mean, it's crazy. That's always fun when you actually can happen. That can happen. Oh, this Exalted stuff looks great. Life as a Renegade Demigod and Exalted. Here's one. The Outcast. Dragons beyond the Empire. They are criminals, rebels, heroes, bumpkins, and bastards. Yet the dynasty of the Scarlet Empire uses only a single word to describe those terrestrial exalted who live beyond the borders of the realm. Outcast. But though they may not have graduated from one of the Imperial secondary schools and may not possess a proper pedigree of parentage, they are exalted nonetheless. Eggs gone from the nest. Exalted, the Outcast details three major outcast communities: the Forest Witches, the pirate band of Eos and Osea, and the mighty 7th Legion, the last First Age military formation remaining in creation. Also included is a wealth of information on outcast heroes born into the Threshold or to lower-class families in the realm. All right. And that's what I'm saying. Like people are like, "Oh, you must really love Exalted." I'm like, "I never fucking played." People are like, "Well, why'd you get all those books now?" I'm like, it looks cool. Like, there's no such thing as a bad RPG book. Like, we say hello to Jilly Beans. Like, we say hello to Witness for Justice. Like, people are like, what's a bad RPG book? Fine. I've never seen a bad RPG book in my life. Honestly, like, check this out. I have this to prove a point. This is called Bruno's Earth. Okay. If you go to Amazon and look this up, this is one of those things that you can get from Amazon for like $5.95. Bruno's Earth. This is an expansion to the game that fills in the holes and gets rid of the obscure contradictory rules. It is more consistent, misspelled, and more detailed, yet easier to play. The games on the shelves these days are so complex and have so many volumes of rules, a dozen lawyers couldn't sort it out. Bruno's Earth goes back to the beginning and rebuilds from scratch, enhancing all of the aspects that make the game fun to play and fixes all the problems that made it hard to play. Bruno's Earth is a trim, detailed, cohesive game system that is fun to play and easy to learn. Now, you would think, whatever. This tome is a compilation of information for role-play gaming and is presented for use with the hope of improving your game. Its copyright is listed as 1986. And the only author credit is an email for a guy called Jim Geyer at hotmail.com. If you go to the entry on Amazon for this book, everybody slams it. They just tear it apart. And they basically are like, this guy doesn't know what the heck he's doing. They don't know what he's writing. He doesn't know what he's saying. It doesn't make any sense. What the heck is going on here? And he inadvertently does something that another guy does on purpose. There's a guy called, what the hell is this guy's name? Chuck Tingle. There's a gay author by the name of Chuck Tingle, and I guess he's like, his whole like shtick is like he writes like this like kind of like bizarro, gay, experimental, kind of like gonzo, like some of his stuff is actually like choose your own adventure stuff. Like it's like, but it's gay unicorns from space are coming after you and they're gonna zombify your butthole. I don't know, it's like nuts. But there's like an official like Chuck Tingle universe RPG, and like it's like half of it is backwards and like half the pages are missing, and like the whole thing is like it's Chuck Tingle, so it's like the whole thing is like it's Chuck Tingle's RPG, so fuck you. Like that's like the whole thing about it. But like this guy ends up basically doing the same thing, but accidentally. Like the whole thing is like it just doesn't like, but it's still awesome. Why? Because look, because like it's like we talk about the meta RPG. Like because why? Because boom, duration of up to. Just call that a spell. Like it's anytime a spell is a duration listing that is suffixed with the words up to, it means that the caster can call for the spell to end at any time by uttering a command word. The command word must be loud and near enough to the enchantment that is within range of the caster's voice. What? Duration of up to. Anytime a spell has a duration listing that is suffixed with the words up to, it means that the caster can call for the spell to end at any time by uttering a command word. The command word must be loud and near enough to the enchantment. Oh, okay, that is within range. Okay, I get it. I get it. Difference doesn't make sense. Anyway, it is what it is. But the reason I have it is basically the same. Like even this like thing, like if I was like jumping out of a burning building, they were like you could grab one book. Like you know what I mean? Like I grabbed this before I grabbed like War and Peace. Do you know what I mean? Because like you could do something with it. You could try to fix it and make it better. So the limitation is not going to come from the material. There'll always be stuff that I'll be interested in buying. And we don't want it to come from me running out of money, because that would be a tragedy, because I got kids that have become emotionally attached to eating. You know what I mean? So we want it to come from self-control. So I had a problem with self-control on Valentine's Day because I had done this mistake. I had drawn this line in the sand, and my reaction to breaking that line in the sand was to go totally overboard. Remember, I was supposed to buy at most 3 books: Advanced Fighting Fantasy, Earth Dawn, and the hardcover version of Rule Cyclopedia, even though I already have a hardcover version of Rule Cyclopedia. And instead, I got Earth Dawn. We don't have Fighting Fantasy or the Rule Cyclopedia because that's getting shipped to the house. Great, because then my ex-wife will get that order, and she'll be like, "Oh, you said you bought some books," and I'll be like, "Yeah." Anyway, holy shit! But this Exalted material is fucking great. Like, look at this shit. This is crazy. The Abyssals, but look, like this is how long is it gonna take me to read this fucking thing? How the I like the Exalted material alone, and I've got. You should see the 3.5 material I got. I started buying all of this stuff when I had already invested hundreds of dollars in the Dungeons and Dragons 3.5 material. And I'd already bought Star Wars D20. I mean, it's just, it's just we've got too much shit here. Do you know what I mean? Holy crap. I'm nowhere near done. We keep on digging. Look at this. Oh my fucking God. What's going on? What, we got more Earth Dawn here? And people are like, didn't you just buy the first? Don't you just want to see if you like Earth Dawn? It's not about liking these things because it's the same thing with addictions. Don't you want to see if you like that bag of heroin? What do you mean? What the fuck are you talking? Wait, you think I'm not gonna like this bag? That alcohol? I don't. What are you drinking? Anything. What the fuck are you talking about? What am I drinking? What do you got? Oh, the fuck? Oh, you don't have what I like? Oh, I'm out of here. Oh shit. I guess I'm not drinking tonight. Legends never die. Here we go. Earth Dawn, second edition. From 2001, 2005. Okay. Pick a year, guys. The Earth Dawn second edition. I remember this one. I got because it was like a dime. It was like ultra cheap. Blood Shadows. This was like really cheap too, and I needed this because I had bought a book really cheap and then realized, hey man, this is great that you bought this really cheap, but you know what's shitty about that? And I was like, what? They were like, you don't have the main rule book, so you can't actually use this. I'm like, oh, I can use it for something. I'm like, no, you can't. So this is Blood Shadows, the World of Blood Shadows. From 1994. All right. The World of Blood Shadows is a world book intended for use with the Master Book system. You must have Master Book to play this game. You son of a bitch. So now I got my Master Book, you motherfucker. That's how they get you, you fucking bastards. We have a exalted little book. We've got a novel. Wilson's prose is smooth and powerful, carrying its allegorical weight and grace, says Publishers Weekly. Okay. All right. And we're coming to the end, folks. So this is mainly exalted. And we've got the side reels. Before the world of darkness, there was an age of savage adventure. Stride creation stands the realm, the last bastion of civilization in a darkening world, and a momentum to the side reel's determination to see that mankind is protected from its many foes. For centuries, the Bronze faction has maintained a chokehold on history, manipulating the Immaculate Philosophy and the Scarlet Dynasty to strengthen its grasp on the realm and on human history. Now the Scarlet Empress has vanished, and the Solar Exalted have returned to creation after their long exile. The factions teeter on the brink of civil war. New threats emerge with every passing day, and it seems as if heaven itself will soon fall into turmoil. Against this time of tumult stands a handful of heroic celestial officials. Though they are few in number and forgotten by history, they are unsurpassed in their wisdom, their foresight, and their mastery of supernatural martial arts. As a side reel exalted, you are the last hope of the unborn future. Will you unite creation and defend fate against its many enemies? Or will you struggle for influence and high station while the pillars of heaven crumble? Requires the exalted main rulebook to play. Well, I have that one, so that's good. And I think I have a double of this. And then we have a bestiary. We have Creatures of the Wild. A bestiary for the second age of Exalted. So there's a second age of Exalted? So great. Now with this Christ. That was the other thing that was nutty with these guys. It's like them and Pathfinder. It's all these things, the friggin' age and the adventure quest and the Pathfinder, the things, the what. Oh, and this also came today from Sword and Sorcery. This is for third edition. So this D20 system. So when we talked about yesterday, Rugged Source was talking about. He brought up the Fantasy Flight RPG game, and I have no idea why he would be. There you go. Malta 2000 XL. That Bruno looks like King Cobra JFS without the hat, or like Genesis. Nice. Julie Beans, hey CW, I started cataloging my card decks by year. Very cool, very cool. Hold on to that information. Jason Albert, CW talks about nostalgia loops, but hasn't seen Cobra Kai. Well, part of the thing is this: is that we haven't talked about Willow. There's so much nostalgia that I run out of things to talk about. Like there's so many things to talk about. Like even this, like we spent an hour and a half on this. I needed to talk about this, but I have 3 characters that I generated using the Fighting Fantasy rules meets the meta RPG spell generating technique. So we've got a backlog of those things that I still want to talk about. We have all of these individual books and systems. I have ideas for how to bring them out and to talk about them and explain how they could interact with the meta RPG or how I interact with the meta RPG. There's all sorts of stuff. But then there's also the need to make this sort of video. So all these things shift and move around, and we try to find the time, we try to find the place, we try to find the spaces, and we also have life going on. It's a glorious thing. We say hello to Little. We say hello to we say hello to Little. Anyone else I haven't seen? We fit in our work world. We're trying. I fit in my kids. You know what I mean? I see my kids 6 days a week. And it's glorious, but it means that we're fitting these things in on these other things. But so what ends up happening? So what is I think the next step is we talked about all that stuff that came in that box. The fact of the matter is that I've got a ton of I could also say that was the stuff that was in that box. Let me just show you this. Hold on. As long as we're here. Right next is here's the next stuff. Here's Mercenary Spies and Private Eyes. This is from 1983. I've had this for a while. This is not stuff that I got recently, but this is just stuff that's here. Here's another Exalted book that came recently. This is probably one of the 22 that we were waiting on. This is a copy of Time Ship for a Friend. I still got to mail out. Here's another Exalted book from 2003. So like I said, when I get into something, I go all in. Why not just get one book, read it, and see if you're into it? That's not how I go. It's just because that would be a rational, reasonable interaction with a product that you are assessing and trying to figure out if you are really into it. But that's obviously not what I'm doing. I'm engaged in some sort of other behavior. And it's also like I do come back to that notion. It's like there's no such thing as a bad RPG book to me. That really, I mean, I can't keep on coming back to that. Here's Julie Beans. No, I know, but it's like Cobra Kai. It's like I'm not interested in also I'm not interested in new nostalgia. When things come like that sort of thing, it would only do that as a critique. And to me, I don't know how to explain it. No one has read War and Peace. I don't think anyone's ever read War and Peace. Here we go. Jelly beans. I had to move all my card decks after alter books, crystals from my space because I have a college roommate staying. And I was like, holy crap, I have a lot of stuff. You don't realize until someone comes over. Rugged source. I brought up Edge of Empire because I needed to learn how character creation works. So I chose an IP I would enjoy reading alongside figuring out how those systems make characters, which is tedious. Yes, but rugged source. The West End Games version came out in 1996. The D20 was the D20 version came out in 2000. So we've been close to the loop. But it doesn't matter. You're okay. It doesn't matter. Fuck it. You know what I mean? Here we go. 3.5. All reasonable. 3.5. Look, I mean, I don't know how to explain to you. When you gain these used books, this is amazing. This this level of, if you see the tape job that this person did, I mean, I'm not going to diagnose anyone with anything, but I mean, if this is not some sort of autism, I don't know what is. I mean, it's just impeccable. When I first saw it, I thought there was some sort of like three-dimensional effect, like these people were like supposed to be some behind some sort of bars. Forgotten Realms. More 3.5. Oh, and this I've had for a while. This is I've shown this before. Flames of Freedom. This is Zweihander, which is kind of like a reboot or a retro clone of old school Warhammer Fantasy, but this is a version of it modified for kind of like America during the Revolutionary War, kind of, but with like magic and shit. Then I also have just some random like fifth edition stuff. I have these fifth edition books. I have almost like the entire fifth edition library. I think I got because when it was on sale, not the entire one, but like a lot. I got a huge portion of it. But this was all stuff that I got because of an abortive belief that the kids, my daughters, were going to play. I was going to get my daughters to play fifth edition, or play Dungeons and Dragons at all. So these were all things that I thought that I was going to bring to the office, that I was going to mine to put together like some sort of like homebrew scenario for them. So it's Journeys to the Radiant Castle, Candlekeep Mysteries, The Wild Beyond the Witchlight. This is cool because it's got the old school guys from the I've shown this before. Where is he? Like Strongheart. They got like, there you go. Ringle Run. You know what I mean? The old school guys. Kellic. Evil guy. This is this is like the Critical Role people. This is like their world. I think I've read a lot of this actual book, and I have no idea who Critical Role even. I've never seen an episode of Critical Role, but I like this place. I mean, it looks cool. I mean, that's why I thought it was going to be good for the girls. But they've let me know they are not going to play. They've let me know, and Strixhaven, A Curriculum of Chaos, which is basically like a Harry Potter D&D, but they also have the owl people, the owlings in this book, which is the bomb diggity. But then again, from the 20 nostalgia loop, I have to wait 20 years before I will be playing these books, which of course is a ridiculous concept. Hold on. Units and Masterminds? Anybody? Ian's Masterminds. Fancy Trip, 1980, reissued. This is Dark Astral. This is an add-on to Zweihander, the original version of Zweihander. This is a short add-on that's supposed to make it like kind of more Warhammer 40K. Here is another supplement for Rifts. Yes, the Anvil Galaxy for Rifts. Here's a cool book from 2015 that I got on a whim because it was super cheap. See, the thing with these RPG books a lot is that they're really cheap. Like, because what ends up happening is a lot of these RPG books will end up getting, they'll get crowdsourced on like Kickstarter. And what ends up happening, people don't realize, is that when you do that, the backers, they get their initial run, and you do it, you buy it, and you get the book, and you get the thing, and you get like the signed copy from the author, whatever. But what you're kickstarting is you're basically funding the first run of the book, the first whatever, like first 500 copies, 1,000 copies. Oh, here, what is this one done by? Okay. What is that? What? Oh, no, yeah. Anyway, so what ends up happening is that these people have like a dream. They put together this amazing, series of art and these, concepts, and they put together this sales pitch, and they come to Kickstarter, they come to these, crowdsourcing sites, and they get a community of people excited, and they tell people about it, and people get excited, and they crowdfund it. And then what ends up happening is that the book gets produced, and no one buys anything except or plays anything except fifth edition. So within 6 months or a year, Amazon is selling the book for like $15. You know what I mean? Dragon's Lair was selling it for $40. The original price was $39.99, whatever. I mean, selling it for whatever. You better believe I didn't spend $40 for this unknown book. I bought it because it was like $15, I guarantee you. And they had a chick on the cover. And it looked kind of like whatever. It looked like Indiana Jones. That was it. You know what I mean? It was this RPG book for X amount of money with a chick on the cover, and it was a hardcover. I go crazy for hardcover books. I love hardcover RPG books. That's my jam. And this one is beautiful. The illustrations, the art, I can highly recommend this. I mean, I can't recommend it because it's off year for our time loop, but it's beautiful. I'm trying to think what else I got here. That I know I got tons of shit here. Hold on. I got stuff over here. I got stuff over there. I got over here stuff, and there's more stuff over here. And over here's the stuff. Oh my god, the stuff. Hold on. I mean, everything that's an RPG thing in this office, I'm going to show you. I'm a dickhead, just to show you how much ridiculous stuff that I have in here. And then eventually I'll start tripping over stuff. Not to get out of this stuff. Here's a game book. Occult Nazi Go-Go Girls Storm Tibet. Fabled Lands, The War-Torn Kingdom. Granny's Garden by Donald Weiss. Donald Weiss, an independent guy or just a front for this guy Shipman that used to rip off the Tunnels and Trolls community all the time. Here's Tunnels and Trolls rules, a free rule set from 2007. Blue Home Rules, Prentice Rules. This is an homage to the original Um, um, what was it? The Eric Holmes edition. What was it, like the second version of Dungeons and Dragons? These Blue Home Prentice rules introduce Underworld Adventures first. Yeah, so yeah, so this is another, basically just as another version of first edition Dungeons and Dragons. Here's another version of first edition Dungeons and Dragons, Swords and Wizardry, a Continual Light. So I'm moving things around so I don't trip over things. Oh my God, folks, you have no idea. Look at this. Folks. Hey, Oswald Spangler, what's going on, man? Step 8, made a list of all the RPG books we had bought and became willing to sell them. I'm not selling any of this shit on eBay. Fuck you. I'm building, you're going to build my freaking corpse, the coffin out of this stuff. Way of the Tiger Avenger, I think it's originally from 1987, reissued. Blood Sword, another game book by Dave Morris and Oliver Johnson. We have Dungeon Master's Guide 2. I've got two of these. I've got two fourth edition Dungeon Master's Guide 2. It's supposed to be, it's great. Dungeon Master's Guide 2 is amazing. It is. It had a great reputation. I have two of them accidentally, but it is a great book. But I have two of them, but I have two of them. But that's the sort of thing that can happen to me with the amount of purchases that I make. We have fourth edition Player's Handbook. We have Dragon Warriors from 2011. We have a fifth edition Player's Handbook, just in case. This is a crime that's hanging out there. This is my Oriental Adventures, my first edition Oriental Adventures. This is when the first OSR revolution happened, and we thought that all the OGL open gaming license stuff was all going to become illegal. I immediately freaked out and had got all of the Chris Connerman materials in hard copy. So there's Iron Falcon Handbook of Monsters, and Iron Falcon 75 in hard copy. And we have Acquisitions Incorporated from friggin', who are these guys? Penny Arcade. This is like a cartoony thing for Dungeons and Dragons. I have no idea. That's something that I could probably see myself partying with. Like all the things that I could see myself partying with, I think I would do something with, like try to like customize them or something. Like do something with them, like a CW chanter, like to like CW chanterize them and then make them like collector's item or something. We're almost done with the stuff. This is just the stuff that's here in the office. Fuckface. Oh shit, we're nowhere near done. We're nowhere near done. Wait till you see what I got. Stupid shit. Swords and Sorcery, Relics and Rituals from, I think this is from 2000. This is like an addendum. This is another D20 book. This is like an addendum to this is all supplementary. So all this stuff, like, so we're talking about like, and meanwhile, I have all this stuff. I brought stuff from home because Rugged Source mentioned Star Wars. I brought the D20 Star Wars book from home. Here's the Define and the Defeated from Swords and Sorcery. This is cool. This is almost a pure lore book. The Codex of Erde requires the use of Dungeons & Dragons Player's Handbook 3rd edition, published by Wizards of the Coast. This book contains everything needed for players and DMs to weave epic tales of heroism in the world of Erde. A detailed history of the world, descriptions of the lands, maps, heraldry, races, languages, deities, classes, spells, Magic items and monsters are found within. Um, and all are fully compatible with the third edition of the world's most popular fantasy role playing game. Yeah, so this is from Troll Lord Games. And it says also includes a mini adventure by Gary Gygax. First printing November 2001. Yeah, so this is like a lore book. Like it shows you like the world and the places. It's really cool. Certain gods. Okay, you got oh, and then this is Legend of the Five Rings. This is Oriental Adventures for third edition from 2001. And then here's a Creatures of Rokugan from 2001. So this is the bestiary for the Oriental Adventures. So I have the Oriental Adventures, the main book from Wizards of the Coast. I have at home. This was a supplementary book that was put out by another company. They put out two supplementary books for that kind of series. And I think after this will be done with it, unless I go and get the stuff out of the closets in the conference room. Cardomancy is a 54 card role playing game. It's a role playing game that I think you do with tarot cards or regular cards. And the other, I think you do with cards. Retroscope. This is one of those playtest rule books. This is one of those, like I said, like one of those like crowdfunded things. This looks beautiful, but like I said, like I've never seen anyone play it online. I've never heard anyone talk about it. So it is what it is. I've got a ton of books like this that probably would end up being the ones that I look at and say, this is the sort of thing that I might say, like, does it bring me joy? Is it taking up space? Do I need it? Because honestly, I'm 47 years old. Like, maybe they figure out a way to make me live forever, but maybe they don't. And if I don't live forever and I'm going to try and figure out, or I'm going to have to figure out prioritizing my time, and I'm only going to have X amount of time to spend with role-playing game books, I'm not going to be able to read everything. And if I'm not going to be able to read everything, I'm going to have to figure out that it's tempting to say, every new guy, because what ends up happening is you're on Amazon and everybody puts out their version of their, old school revival version of their compendium of their greatest version of first edition Dungeons and Dragons, which essentially is always just basically the same game over and over again. So I don't know why people keep on thinking they're doing something different. I don't know why. But they put it out for $5.95. They put it out for $6.95, so you buy it. Or all these people are putting out these new kind of crazy experimental RPGs or whatever, these new different RPGs. They put it out. They put their time and effort into it. They put it on Lulu. They put it on Amazon.com. They quickly realize that it doesn't sell, so they slash the price to nothing. They just put it out for cost, and then everybody buys it at cost. And I think all that's going to end up happening is that one day there is going to be an RPG revival and revolution, because the kids are going to get sick and tired of having all their shit taken away from them all the time. Every time the operating system changes on the phones or whatever, and they're going to realize, hey man, if you go to the places, all these places are full of these old books that people keep on buying, no one bought, but I don't know what these are. But if you can't read everything and you're gonna have to make choices, I guess a thing like Deco, like Retroscape, as beautiful as it is, because my only attachment to it is the fact that it just happens to be an RPG book. it probably is going to be the sort of thing that could probably get iced. Could go, go on to the it's print on demand. Could probably go and be given to someone like if someone says someone says, do you need an RPG book to play a meta RPG? No, you don't. But if you felt like you needed one, this is not on the 20-year nostalgia loop. But if someone felt like they needed, to know like what an RPG book was, or needed to have connection, you could, if you needed something to fit the purpose, it's that. Here's the Adventurer's Guide to Fishing. Here's Basic Fantasy in hard copy. Here's the Psionics Handbook. I put this to the side by Bruce or Cardell. I put this to the side because it wasn't on the nostalgia loop, so I had to get it off this pile because I didn't want it to corrupt. It's corrupting energy from 2000 to because it's from 2001. So I couldn't have it near the 2003 stuff. Meanwhile, because I decided to go back and just do the nostalgia loop to 2003, I'm like, well, when you think about it, if we're doing it like that, it makes sense that, you could use stuff from 2000, 2001, 2002. And then I'm like, you son of a bitch, you put all this other stuff away. And I'm like, I'm always doing that to myself. I'm always like fixing things and then changing the rules and then screwing myself and then either going back and feeling like I need to buy more stuff or whatever. But that's part of the thing. You son of a bitch. Lex Arcana, Egyptus, the Sands of Gold, Time and Gold. This is the other thing that I always do to myself. This is beautiful. I'll see something like this that I get because it's cheap, like it was on sale. But this is one of these things. It's not the main book. It's like it's like like an add-on, like a supplement, right? So I say to myself, oh man, this supplement, it's really cool, and it's really beautiful, and I really like that. And I like the price on the supplement. The supplement, they're selling the supplement for like what? Everything's $15.95, $12.95, $15.95. Oh man, that's cool. How much is the main book? Oh man, the main book is $50. I don't want to spend $50. I don't think I'm going to want to play this Egyptus, Lex Arcana. I don't want to buy the main book for $50. I want to buy the supplement for $12.95. So I buy the supplement for $12.95 and they go, oh man, this is gorgeous. It's gorgeous. Look at this shit. That's beautiful. Only problem is I'm sitting here going, oh yeah, I can figure this shit out. So here's what I was saying to myself. I was like, I can figure this shit out. No problem. I said, I've been playing these RPGs for enough time. No problem. I'll figure this out. I'll reverse engineer this. No problem. And anyone knows this game, Lex Arcanum, they knows exactly where I'm headed with this. They give shit in fucking Latin. 2 dice, de bellio de corpio. 3 dice, de magio, contro de officio. They give shit in fucking Latin. Are you fucking kidding me? You fucking bastards. No wonder your shit's not selling. You motherfuckers. Are you serious? If I'm lying, I'm dying. Common mummy. Damage, de corporeo. Are you fucking? I swear to God, they're giving they name all the fucking attacks are in fucking Latin. I mean, they look beautiful. With a 1 degree of success, the ritual brings the corpse back to life, erasing any signs of decay, but it does not summon back the soul from the realm of the dead, leaving the body in a comatose state, potentially for eternity. The body does not need sustenance and does not age or grow sick, but remains an empty shell until inhabited by a soul, hopefully the original one. How to return the soul to a departed to their body is left to the demiurge, but if successfully executed, apply the effects of a 2 degree of success below. It's good stuff. Once you can figure it out, and you can figure out the fact that you're having trouble figuring some stuff out because it's in Latin. But that's half the fun. Pits and Perils, the Ruined Abbey of St. Tabitha. An adventure setting for an old school role-playing games by James and Robin George. An adventure for old, self-explanatory. Pits and Perils 2, Fear, Fire, Foes. More rules for 1.1 scale role playing in the world of medieval fantasy. This is interesting. So this game was in a world where everyone was basically reproducing the same first edition Dungeons and Dragons rule set. This guy James George and his lovely wife Robin kind of came at it a different angle and basically redesigned the whole game from, I think, the ground up in the form of pits and perils. So I haven't played it myself through, but that's what it's supposed to be. And last but not least, we have The Squared Circle, the wrestling RPG by Eric Moreau by Daydreamer Interactive. Disclaimer: the moves described in this book are there to help the player visualize the moves. Please do not practice or perform said moves at any time. Professional wrestlers are trained to perform these moves without getting hurt. Copying what you see on television or performing the moves described in this book can lead to injury or even death. There you go. But wait, there's more. I know there's more. Hold on. Yeah. This is the classics. So here are the classics. Here's some of the classics. They're the old school ones. The supplement to the main book, basically. Here we go. Palladium Books, Mutants Down Under. Palladium Books, Mutants in Avalon. This is all for what became after the bomb, what had started off as Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Other Strangeness. Mutants of the Yucatan. Robotech. Robotech 2, The Sentinels. Robotech Book 5, The Infinite Invasion. We also have here Robotech RPG Book 2, RDF Manual. I think I have other stuff here somewhere. I think, like I said, I think I've got other stuff that's in the. Oh, no, wait. This was the box set of the Dungeons and Dragons expanded rules, the Xanathar's Guide to Everything, Masters of the Multiverse, and Tasha's Cauldron of Everything. It also has a slipcase with a Dungeon Master's screen. There's that. Oops, sorry. We also have for Lamentations of the Flame Princess, the Book of Antithesis. We also have Villains of Volturnus. Super Endless Quest is actually more like a fighting fantasy game. They should have more of those. They don't, unfortunately. They should. And another Choose Your Own Adventure from TSR, an Endless Quest one, Robbers and Robots. And oh my God, we have the Temple of Elemental Evil by Goodman Games. This is the original. They took the original Adventures of Elemental Evil and they did a version of it for 5th edition as well. So there's two big. I haven't opened up this one. I got this. This was another thing that was on sale for a ridiculously reduced price. A whole bunch of these went on sale too. So yeah. That. So they'll probably leave it there. I don't think I'll go to the other ones to get more stuff. So that's it. So I guess you could say that I have a lot of books. Here's a Dungeons and Dragons book, just a novel. And remember, folks, that these aren't books like read it cover to cover and then you just read that book. These are ostensibly games with unlimited potential, right? These are um, you know, this swords and wizardry rule set that you can read in 18 minutes, you know, the combinations of various party members that you can put together and the various adventures you can have, you know, battling, you and your friends battling, you know, various combinations of owl bears, orcs, and goblins. Oh my, you know, people have been playing. Essentially, this is the original version of Dungeons and Dragons after a fashion. So essentially, people have been playing a version of this game after a fashion since 1974, which is 1 year longer than I've been alive on planet Earth. So, you know what I mean? So it's like all of this stuff is really kind of like absolutely completely unnecessary, right? But hey, and I'm aware of the fact that like I'm not buying crack, you know what I mean? I'm not buying cocaine. And like I said, I am not spending outside of my means. The transgression and why I identified this as unhealthy is because I identified it as unhealthy. Because I had said it is my objective to stop purchasing RPG books. I had said that I was going to stop buying RPG books because of this, and this reason. I have too many RPG books. I have too many RPG books to read within any reasonable amount of time. Therefore, buying more RPG books is a nullity. I cannot use these any more RPG books. Therefore, if it's not like a grand slam Uber, you got to have this. It's just the bee's knees. You need it. No more RPG books. And then yet, what did I end up doing? I ended up buying more RPG books, but not just buying more RPG books like I showed you when I crossed that imaginary line in the sand. My reaction was completely overblown. My reaction was a completely addictive type of reaction. You know, it was just nuts. It's one thing to say, you screwed up, you know what I mean? Or you screwed up, so you know, okay, you want to buy these other 3 books, fine, buy these other 3 books, and then say, fuck it, you bought those other 3 books, and then we're done. But then to go and to say, yikes, or to say, you know, you don't want to buy, you know, this copy of Earth Dawn because it's too expensive at $60, but then the alternative is you're going to put together a shopping cart that's over $300, but it's full of other things that you're lukewarm about, but they're all smaller purchases. It's just this unbalanced relationship that needs to be addressed. And how do I address it? I address it by coming here and kind of talking about it. That's how I felt like I addressed it the first time, by saying, hey folks, you know, this issue has come up with me in my life, so I feel like disclosing it and talking about it is the healthy thing to do. Maybe I saw this coming, because I think the healthy thing to do is, after I make that disclosure, if something then happens with that disclosure, of the nature of that disclosure, is to say, hey, you know, folks, you know how I said I wasn't going to do that? Well, guess what? I did it. Hey, Jesus J, a little variation on the theme. I like it. I like it. Rogue status. Rogue status. Long time no see. How you been, baby? So yeah, so I mean, so you just do some adjustments, and like I said, I'm not in the poorhouse. I'm far from the poorhouse. I'm not in debt. It's not a problem. That's not the issue. The issue was the fact that I had said that I wasn't going to do something, and then I did it, and that when I saw myself doing that thing, My reaction to it was completely overblown, and my reaction and my attitude and my behavior towards it completely resembled my reaction and behavior towards those things that I'm addicted to. I responded purely and completely like an addict. You know what I mean? Like someone who had been busted, and then someone who had been busted then reacted like, okay, now we're off to the races, and then now we're going to go completely overboard. You know, one is too many, 10 is not enough. We're going to just go completely hog wild. We're going to go nuts. And then we're going to feel guilty about it. We're going to feel so guilty about it that we're going to just, keep on. And then, and then what's happened? I got to tell you completely honestly, I had this major slip up. And that's, remember, this whole thing that we went through where I pulled out all these books from the box. I mean, not everything we looked at tonight was from that box, but the things that's just half of what I purchased that day. The other half is the stuff that was print on demand for Drive Through RPG, or stuff that I purchased from Drive Through RPG that's going to be delivered. That I'll unbox here too. Why not? And for a penny and for a pound. And then the theory is that, over time we just do this, and we just keep doing this, and maybe this video will be of service to some people. Maybe some other people will come to this video, come to see and say, have some sort of opportunity to work out their stuff or look at what they do. And remember, it's not to say that just because I'm looking at things and making this personal assessment doesn't mean that if you buy books, or you buy books at the same rate as I do, or more or less, that you have a problem or don't have a problem with this, that. It doesn't mean anything. This is about me talking about me. You know what I mean? It's about me making personal assessments about me. Now, I'm going to pull a tarot card, and then I'm going to have to go, because I have to figure out, which of these books I'm going to bring home. And I also have to think about long term about this thing about, this thing with we got to relax. We got to take a realistic assessment of what we have. We got to take a realistic assessment of this whole, how we're working with this 20-year nostalgia loop thing. And we got to figure out where the lesson is, what the teachable moment is, what the teachable lesson is, what we can communicate to people about what we learned and what we experienced about how to do it, and we move forward. And if it happens again, it happens again, and we'll assess, and we'll work with, and we'll address that then. And in the meantime, like I said, I'm not beating myself up over it. I'm not going crazy. It was what it is. It was what it was. I don't have credit card debt. I'm not in arrears, so it remains what it remains. I spent money that I wasn't planning on spending, that I felt like I shouldn't have spent, because not because I couldn't spend it, but because I said that I wasn't going to spend it on stuff that I said I was going to spend it on. And so build a house. We're going to figure it out. We're going to figure out what we're going to do with it. And in the meantime, if any of the stuff that I've talked about or I showed is of particular interest to you, especially if it's on the 20 nostalgia loop, nail it. Let me know. Tell me what you're thinking of. Here we go. There we go. Here's Jet Petty. I've compulsively bought travel size 10 millimeter of many fragrances. I'm reeling in that compulsion right now. Everybody's got something. Everybody's got something. Everybody's got something, right? Jelly beans. Jet Petty, I have the same struggle with card decks, especially when there are sales. That's the other thing. Sales will get me. The other thing that gets me is with, these things, it's the used books. If I'm looking at a book from 1993, that's 30 years ago. My attitude is that it's a finite resource. If I'm looking at a book from 1995, I'm saying to myself, oh, that's not on the 30-year nostalgia loop for another 2 years. But then I'm saying to myself, but in 2 years, that book that is now 28 years old is now going to be, 30 years old. That's going to be, and it's going to be a collector at 30. It's going to be a collector. Oh, you should definitely get it now. Definitely get it now. You know what I mean? And, you know, and the only thing, it is what it is. It is what it is. But it is what it is. And those who can be honest with themselves with eyes open will be honest with themselves with eyes open, will have a fighting chance to try and make it out alive. And those people who are in denial will get caught out there and are going to get screwed up. So I want to have eyes open. I want to be honest, and I want to be honest with myself. And if I've screwed up and had a line in the sand crossed, I don't want to say, it's not a big deal. It's just books. It's not drugs and alcohol. So fuck it. Forget about it. No, I mean, if we're spending too much money, we're spending too much money. If we're spending on money on things that we don't need, we're spending money on things that we don't need. That's still a waste of money. I mean, the fact that there's things that are worse that you can waste your money on, I don't know if that's necessarily, solves it from my perspective. But that's not to say that my perspective is the perspective that ends all debates. A card for tonight's stream. Seven of Swords. The swords are the intellectual suit, the suit of the mind. Just today, I was reflecting on someone talking about the Thoth Tarot, and reflecting on the Eastern conception of the mind and like the monkey mind and being the source of all things like conflict and regret and estrangement and fear and anxiety. And seven, whenever I see the number seven, it's a very powerful number. It's a very strong number, but it's imbalanced. It's the number of God. But it's the number of Yahweh, and it's the number of Zeus. It's the number of a very human God. The Seven of Swords in a traditional Rider-Waite deck is usually that character who's kind of sneaking out of camp with like five swords in his hands and kind of two stuck behind. Five swords could be him himself, his own ideas and thoughts, and the two things left behind could be just other people, or the idea of leaving something behind, as if if we leave something behind, then for the other people, then it's okay, we're the private things that we're keeping for ourselves. But the things that we leave behind, the evidence of our minds and our actions. Daddy says to the kids, I'm just going out for a pack of smokes. I'll be right back. He can escape the guilt of being looked at as an abandoning father at that moment. Become day 1, 2, 3, the kids realize that dad's gone. It's not that identity of the abandoned father hasn't vested in him. He just hasn't experienced. He's just not looking at it in the eyes. Much like Zeus, I'll do this, I'll do that, I'll do the other thing, I'll get away with it. And Hera's right behind them, like, we all see what you're doing here. We all live in the same goddamn place. We see when you go, we see when you come back. 9 months later, a chick is pregnant with a guy, somehow, amazingly, not quite like the other humans. Funny that. And here you are complaining that people just don't get along with you, especially me, your old lady. I'm always giving you a hard time. Yeah. Life's just not fair, Zeus, huh? So powerful. But the power cuts both ways. And the imperfection of that power will often lead to the misdirection of that cutting and the rebounding of the injury and the wound onto oneself. But if we turn around and show our intentions, or if we walk back and put the swords back in place, yes, the thoughts and ideas that are ours will be seen. We may be seen and busted on our return approach. What are you doing there? Wait, were you sneaking out of camp right before the big assault? Were you sneaking out of camp? Were you sneaking out of camp with everybody's shit? Yeah, but hey, knew it was the wrong thing, so I turned back around, left those two swords behind, huh? Maybe it works out, maybe it doesn't, but the reality is they're going to figure out that you're going to miss them one way or the other. You might as well show your cards. You might as well face the music. One way to look at it. But there's always many different ways to look at it. The books that we looked at today remain objects in time. They've been shown, they've appeared on screen. There are many different copies of these different versions of these books, but these books were the particular ones that were shown on this day. What will happen to these particular books over time? Will they be remembered? Will they be forgotten? Will I be remembered? Will I be forgotten? Read a spiritual text every day, chant every day, watch CW Chanter every day. I do have a Patreon. I could use more money. I promise not to spend it on RPGs. I decided to spend all my money on crack. No, not crack. Airplane glue. I'm kidding. It's crack. Okay. I love you. I love you. I love you. If nobody told you they loved you today, somebody just did that. Somebody CW Chanter. Thank you for hearing out my woes, misbegotten misadventures. Oh, you're the best, Jet Petty. Thank you so much. God bless you. God bless you for your validating lies. God bless you with your validating lies. You honey bunch, you angel. God bless you. Goddess bless you. You're wonderful. Dad's gone, didn't have the balls to say goodbye. Hey, listen, but I came back. Forgot my keys. Dad, you came back. You came back for us. Yeah, kid, I couldn't, when I thought about you, I couldn't turn around, leave you again behind. That I'll be right back. Where are you going this time? No, we're going with you this time. You can't because this new gal I'm with, Roxanne, she's not into kids, man. She's like, she's got this attitude about them. It holds her down, she says. Plastic hassles are a big expression. You get out of here before it's like something on the precipice, and I'm like, how do I just, we're getting in the stream. I love you. I love you. I love you. If nobody told you they loved you, it's the So far unindicted, C.W. Chanter. The sun will come out. Oh my god. A lot of RPG books. I basically man, geez Louise. We'll have to figure out something. We'll figure out something. I love you. I'll talk to you soon. Peace be upon you. Thank you for the advice, Mark Tarana. Sometimes I just need to be told what to do. That's what you're here for. I love you. I really do. I love you. You're my man. You're my man right now. You're the best.